There are certain unshakable truths we associate with the grand American holiday of Thanksgiving. There will be family, there will be football on television, and there will, almost without exception, be a turkey. It sits at the center of the table, a bronzed bird, an oversized bird, a rather ungainly bird, serving as the edible centerpiece for a national day of gratitude. But it is worth pausing for a moment, perhaps between forkfuls of stuffing and cranberry sauce, to ask a simple question. Why this particular bird? Of all the creatures that walk, that swim, that fly, how did this one, a native of the North American woods with a famously gobbling disposition, become the undisputed star of our most cherished culinary tradition? The answer, as is so often the case with history, is a delightful mix of practicality. It begins thousands of years ago in the wilds of Mesoamerica, crosses the Atlantic, appears at European courts, and circles back to a fledgling nation trying to forge its own identity. This bird is not merely a meal, it is a biological and cultural artifact. The wild turkey, Meleagris gallopavo, is surprisingly intelligent and remarkably resilient, very different from the placid, white-feathered butterballs we wrestle with in our modern kitchens. Understanding its ascent requires shedding assumptions and seeing the bird as a participant in a long, winding story of human civilization and appetite. It's a misconception that Pilgrims and the Wampanoag carved into a turkey like your grandmother's at 1621. Bradford's journals say the men went fowling, and wild turkeys were abundant in New England. But the table also held other proteins: venison, ducks, geese, and various kinds of fish and shellfish. The turkey was one player in a larger ensemble. The idea of the turkey as the exclusive main course developed later, over centuries of cultural shaping. Its size helped. One large turkey could feed a sprawling family, especially before refrigeration. It was also distinctly American, a native bird lending patriotic authenticity to the holiday. Its story is essentially how a tradition is carefully, and sometimes accidentally, constructed. Long before any European explorer had ever dreamt of a new world, the wild turkey was already a fixture of the North American landscape. These were not the docile, chemically sedated birds of modern factory farms, but magnificent and wily creatures. Fossil evidence suggests that the ancestors of today's turkeys have been roaming the continent for millions of years, adapting and thriving from the forests of Mexico to the woodlands of Maine. They were, and still are, remarkably hardy birds. Wild turkeys can run at speeds of up to 25 miles per hour and fly in short, powerful bursts, reaching 55 miles per hour, making them a challenging quarry for predators and humans. For the continent's indigenous peoples, the turkey was far more than just a potential meal. It was an integral part of their world, a source of sustenance, materials, spiritual significance. The bird's meat provided essential protein, but nearly every part of it was used with purpose and respect. Its strong leg bones were fashioned into tools like awls for leatherwork, while its dramatic feathers were woven into intricate ceremonial robes, capes, the fletching of arrows. The sound of a turkey feather fan cutting through the air or the sight of a leader adorned in a shimmering feather cloak were powerful symbols of status and connection to the natural world. These ancient birds were experts of their domain. Blessed with exceptional eyesight, they can see in color and have a field of vision of about 270 degrees, and hearing far more acute than a human's, they are notoriously difficult to sneak up on. They spend their days foraging on the forest floor for a varied diet of nuts, seeds, berries, insects, and their nights roosting high in the safety of treetops. It is a curious and amusing footnote in American history that Benjamin Franklin held the turkey in remarkably high esteem. In a letter to his daughter, he lamented the choice of the bald eagle as the national symbol, dismissing it as a bird of bad moral character that lazily steals fish from other birds. The turkey, he argued, was by comparison a much more respectable bird, and a true original native of America. While he never seriously campaigned to put the turkey on the Great Seal, his admiration for the bird's courage and resourcefulness captures a certain truth about this uniquely American creature. While the peoples of North America hunted the wild turkey, a different story was unfolding further south. In what is now Mexico, the Aztecs and other Mesoamerican cultures accomplished something remarkable. They domesticated the turkey. Around 800 BC, they began the long process of breeding the wild birds, selecting for traits like a calmer demeanor and larger size. These domesticated turkeys, a subspecies known as Meleagris gallopavo, became a vital source of protein, providing a steady supply of meat and eggs that didn't require the uncertainty of a hunt. They were the only domesticated fowl of any significance in the pre-Columbian Americas. When the Spanish conquistadors arrived in the early 16th century, they were astonished by what they found. In the sprawling markets of Tenochtitlan, the Aztec capital, they saw gold, silver, and pens filled with these strange, large, gobbling birds called huexolotl. The Spaniards, having never seen such a creature, were immediately intrigued. They saw its potential as a food source, and it wasn't long before they began shipping these domesticated birds back to Spain. From Spain, the turkey's popularity exploded across Europe. The bird was a sensation. It was exotic. It was large enough to be a centerpiece at a nobleman's banquet. And it tasted wonderful. It quickly spread to Italy, France, and then to England, where it became a fashionable choice for festive meals, especially Christmas. There is a great deal of historical confusion over its name. The most plausible theory is that English merchants, who often received goods from the eastern Mediterranean via Turkish traders, simply associated this new bird with them, calling it a turkey cock. The name stuck, even though the bird had absolutely nothing to do with the country of Turkey. By the time the Pilgrims set sail for America on the Mayflower in 1620, the domesticated turkey was already a well-established farm animal back in England. It is a wonderfully ironic twist of history that the English colonists, upon arriving in New England, encountered the wild ancestors of the very same bird they had been raising and eating back home. They brought with them the idea of a turkey as a festive meal, a concept that had been cultivated not in America, but in the halls and kitchens of Europe. This transatlantic round trip is a crucial and often overlooked part of the turkey's journey to the Thanksgiving table. For nearly 2 centuries after that first harvest meal, Thanksgiving was a scattered and informal affair. It was celebrated on different days in different states, a regional custom rather than a unified national holiday. During this period, the turkey began its quiet campaign for the top spot on the menu. Its practicality was its greatest asset. In the agrarian society of the 18th and 19th centuries, a family might raise a small flock of turkeys over the summer. By late autumn, the birds would be fully grown and ready for slaughter, making them a perfectly timed, homegrown source of meat for a harvest celebration. Unlike a cow, which was a long-term investment for milk, or chickens, which were valued for their year-round egg production, the turkey was eminently expendable. The bird's symbolic power was cemented in the mid-19th century, thanks in large part to the tireless efforts of a magazine editor and writer named Sarah Josepha Hale. For decades, Hale, the editor of the influential Godey's Ladies book, campaigned relentlessly to have Thanksgiving declared a national holiday. In her articles, editorials, and even her fiction, she painted a romanticized picture of a proper Thanksgiving celebration, one that always featured a large roasted turkey at its heart. She effectively created a blueprint for the modern Thanksgiving, and her vision of a family gathered around a magnificent bird resonated deeply with a nation searching for unifying traditions. Hale's campaign finally succeeded in 1863 in the midst of the Civil War. President Abraham Lincoln, likely seeing the value of a holiday that could foster a sense of national unity and gratitude, issued a proclamation declaring the last Thursday in November as a national day of Thanksgiving. While Lincoln's proclamation didn't mention turkeys, Hale's cultural groundwork had already been laid. With Thanksgiving now an official, nationwide event, her vision of the quintessential Thanksgiving dinner, with the turkey as the star, became the national standard. The turkey wasn't chosen by a president, it was elected by popular demand, heavily influenced by a very persuasive editor. The tradition was further solidified by literature. In Charles Dickens's 1843 novella, A Christmas Carol, the reformed Ebenezer Scrooge sends the Cratchit family a massive prize turkey for their Christmas dinner. Though the story is set in England and focuses on Christmas, its immense popularity in America reinforced the association between a large, celebratory bird and a joyous family feast. The image of Bob Cratchit delighting over a turkey twice the size of Tiny Tim helped to embed the bird firmly in the collective consciousness as the ultimate symbol of holiday generosity and abundance, a sentiment that easily transferred to its Thanksgiving role. Today, the turkey on your table is a product of remarkable biological engineering, a creature that has been sculpted by human needs for maximum efficiency. The vast majority of the nearly 46 million turkeys consumed each Thanksgiving are of the broad-breasted white variety. This specific breed was developed in the mid-20th century to satisfy consumer demand for more white breast meat and a quicker growth cycle. These birds are bred to be so chest-heavy that they are physically incapable of natural reproduction and, in most cases, cannot even fly or run effectively. They are monuments to the power of selective breeding, designed for the platter, not the forest. The journey from farm to table is a massive logistical undertaking, a miracle of modern food production and distribution. These birds are raised in enormous, climate-controlled barns, reaching their market weight of 15 to 30 pounds in just a few months. From there, they enter a complex supply chain of processing plants, refrigerated trucks, and supermarket freezers, all orchestrated to ensure that a turkey is available for every American household. It is an industrial-scale operation that would have been utterly unimaginable to a Pilgrim or an Aztec farmer. In a fascinating counter-narrative, the wild turkey has made a spectacular comeback. By the early 20th century, due to overhunting and habitat loss, wild turkeys had been eliminated from much of their historical range and were facing extinction. However, one of the great success stories of American wildlife conservation began in the 1940s. Through dedicated efforts by state wildlife agencies and conservation groups, which involved trapping and relocating birds to suitable habitats, the wild turkey population has rebounded spectacularly. Today, there are an estimated 7 million wild turkeys, and they can be found in every state except Alaska, sometimes even wandering through suburban backyards. And so, the turkey story comes full circle. It is a bird that was wild, then domesticated, then exported, then re-imported, then industrialized, and now, simultaneously, re-wilded. When we sit down to our Thanksgiving meal, we are participating in a tradition with layers of history, from the ancient hunts of Native Americans to the marketing genius of a 19th century magazine editor. The bird at the center of our table is more than just a meal. It is a symbol of harvest, a product of global history, and a testament to human ingenuity and the enduring resilience of nature. It has, against all odds, truly earned its place.